This is Nick HeadHunter Chapman.
Fighting out of RJA Prize Fighters and Andy Robbins Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Nick Chapman!
Considered one of the UK's premier mixed martial arts athletes and undefeated in his MMA career.
He's out and he doesn't like it. Chapman wins by arm triangle.
In 8 weeks' time, Nick will square off against a very tough and experienced MMA fighter with one goal: to become the UK1MMA Light Heavyweight Champion. This is Nick HeadHunter Chapman as you've never seen him before, uncensored and uncut. This is his story. It's Saturday 9 AM and I'm finally going to get to see Nick in action. He's at the Andy Roberts Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, preparing for his first MMA session of the day. Morning, Nick.
Morning.
Morning. How are we today?
Very well, actually. Feeling quite positive about this morning. Had a good wrestling session yesterday with these couple of louts, and now it's MMA. And I'm sporting my new Predator rash guard, which I think is quite cool. It's a new range we're trying out. See how it goes. Got all sorts of gloves and various different pieces I'm going to try out over the next few weeks. But I'm going to keep warm for a minute.
But he doesn't have to keep warm for long, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Andy Roberts is going to put him through his paces.
Okay guys, with your partner.
And with the warm-up and shadow boxing over, it's time for Nick to get down to business. There's no shortage of tough guys in this gym, and Andy Reynolds, his next partner, is no exception. For now, it's time to rest. But in this place, a fighter's services are always in demand. This academy seems to be the perfect playground for the headhunter, and I wanted to know more about the work that he and Andy do together. Andy, when Nick's got a fight coming up, what do you do to get him prepared for that?
As well as the ongoing training we do in every class, when we know who the opponent is and have a specific opponent, then we'll watch the footage, formulate a game plan specifically for that guy, because Nick builds his skills in the standard sessions, but then when it comes to fighting, 90% of that fight on that day is tactical and mental. We need to know what he's going to do and how he's going to take his opponent apart. The hard work's already been done, and on fight night it's tactics, it's mental game and all that. He's got the mental side of things down, but we need to take apart his opponents bit by bit. Pick it up, get your hips in. That's it, now back off and pull him down.
The more time I spend around Andy Roberts, the more I realise why Nick chooses Andy to train him. The guy does know what he's talking about. And with 12 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA experience, you'd kind of expect that. Physically, how do you prepare him for that fight?
What we do doesn't change in terms of physical techniques and stuff. The training is the same. We're working on his movement, his escapes, his submissions, but the tactics just change and the focus changes on the opponent. But we're never sort of thinking, oh that guy is a stand-up fighter, we're just going to work takedowns, because we need to work the whole thing. He's a well-rounded fighter, and that's what's going to make him champion. Not this man, take it down. Chin down, hands up. There you go. Right. Nice. Perfect. Back up.
That can go in.
Come on, back up, guys. Come on. Bit rest, Nick. Dude, one more round from standing. Woo. Then we go to the floor.
And with the MMA session coming to a close, it's time for Nick's weekly dose of pugilism with professional boxing coach Matt Whyton.
When you do that jab, I want that hand straight back up where it came from, yeah, nice and tight.
I soon learned that Matt's a fantastic boxing coach with excellent credentials.
That's it, back up. There. That's it. And again. That's it, keep it nice and long. I want him out there, out of range. Step down.
Matt, how long have you been working with Nick now?
Roughly 4 months now.
And in that time, how have you seen Nick's boxing improve?
Massively. His footwork's better, more variety of shots, head movement, a lot faster, and ultimately he's a lot harder to hit now.
It's becoming more and more obvious to me why Nick surrounds himself with these people. This isn't just about Nick HeadHunter Chapman. There's a whole backroom of teammates, coaches and trainers involved here.
You look really good then.
Back in Guildford, it's time for Nick to concentrate on one of the most important aspects of a fighter's daily routine, his nutritional intake.
Right, 3,500 calories. Strength training phase. I love it. I don't have to worry too much about what I eat. I get a little bit of leeway. I'm still very strict. Everything I do is balanced with nutrition. So we're on lunch today. It's simple sandwich, apple, some nuts for healthy fats. There's a whole blend of goodness inside this very simple meal. Equates to 621.99 calories, if I'm going to be exact. I kind of had this plan now, but because I've been practicing nutrition for so long, it's almost like I don't need it anymore, but I kind of follow it still anyway. Always pick the good stuff. This is great bread. It's seeded, granary, whole grain. I mean, that's such quality. That is just full of goodness. Butter is a big no-no. I use this extra light Laughing Cow spread. It's got taste, it's got a bit of protein, and there's hardly any fat, very low calories. Lean cuts of ham from Sainsbury's Big Good Yourself range. This is just as lean as quality as it gets. It's full of protein, there's hardly any fat in it. It's great. Again, it's the Big Good Yourself range, it's low in fat, very, very small amount of carbs. it's just got flavour. Just a very little bit of this with my sandwich, just gives it a little bit of flavour. Ever since I see Popeye on telly, with his arms like Popeye, still haven't kind of got him. But spinach is the way forward. Flavour, rocket. Absolutely love rocket. I don't know what it's about the taste, it's almost nutty. I love it. Right, that's the sandwich. Nice and easy. I know from experience in this meal 620 calories. I also know it's very little fat. I also know there's some great slow releasing carbs, vitamins, minerals. The fats that are included in this meal are very healthy. I get that from walnuts. Healthy fats. When I've done my nutrition courses, I study nutrition. The benefits of healthy fats, they're phenomenal, they're endless. I mean, Google healthy fats for sports performance and see what you get. My lean hand, check this stuff out, look at it. Pure protein. Love it. Need me spinach, arms like Popeye. Rocket for flavour. Lovely, lovely. I feel like Jamie Oliver. Now, obviously a very thin spread of this. There's hardly any calories in any of this. And like I say, the calories that are in it are just really good for you. So it gives it some flavour. It's a very simple meal. It's lunchtime, so obviously I'm not going to cook much. Sometimes I do cook at lunch, but not often. What more do you need? Now, those are out there that like crisps, Snacker Jacks, rice cakes, they're lovely. Again, very low levels of fat. It's quality food. Don't need to eat crisps, don't need to eat chocolate, don't need to eat biscuits. It won't do you any good at all. Water. I can't stand the taste of water, so I get this flavoured stuff. But I get the sugar-free stuff. Again, low calories. So sugar wreaks havoc in the body, it encourages your body to release all sorts of fat-storing hormones, such as insulin. I like to regulate my energy levels throughout the day with slow-releasing carbs. It's a much better way to eat. Now on this plan, an apple, so my Granny Smith, love them, and a handful of nuts. Now, with the nuts, 20 grams. It's very important because fat is so calorific. Very important to keep this exact, because this is where added calories sneak in. And that's when you lose your 6-pack, or in my case, 8-pack. That'd be a big head, isn't it? So 20 grams. That's how easy it is to go overboard on calories with the nuts because of the fat content. Now, 620 grams, pure quality nutrition. Makes me a machine. I'm going to enjoy.
And whilst Nick tucks into all those calories, I took the opportunity to talk to Nick's wife, Karen, about what it's like being married to a cage fighter. What's it like living with a professional MMA athlete then?
Tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. Particularly nearer the fight. Obviously it's non-stop training, but it's the food and the fact that, you know, he's sort of got to eat certain foods at certain times and he can't eat other foods, and he gets a bit grumpy because he can't eat as much as that he wants. So yeah, it can be testing.
How do you feel Nick handles his work-life balance?
Really well. He tries not to do too much in the evenings and at weekends, which is obviously when we try and spend time together. He does generally work quite late on a Saturday, but you know, a lot of people work Saturdays. So Sundays he tries to keep clear, and most evenings really. So yeah, it's a good balance.
When Nick's got a fight coming up, are there certain aspects of your relationship that you kind of need to change in order to keep things harmonious?
I wouldn't say we need to change our relationship because we're quite good in that we have an understanding. You know, if one of us is a bit stroppy, then generally, you know, we'll give each other space. But I think I have to be very patient, more so than normal, on the lead up to a fight.
How do you think Nick's coped with the sudden surge of media attention he's been getting?
I think he's coped really well. He's used it all to his advantage in promoting the gym and obviously his fights and what have you. Yeah, he hasn't let it get to his head. He hasn't started sort of bossing me about and saying, do you know who I am, sort of thing. So yeah, really okay.
And speaking of Nick's media commitments, they're never that far away. It's time for Nick to meet up with good friend and fellow MMA presenter and journalist Mark Wartime Carling for his now regularly scheduled appearance on Mark's online MMA show, Wartime TV.
My physio, we get him in gym of the week.
Oh yeah, we did before.
AD, I'm going to bring them in to meet you in a minute for gym of the week, Sky Sports. So where are you going to be, in your office? Oh, is that okay, mate? Oh, you legend. I'll come in, I'll introduce, I'll come around the gym, then we'll pop in, I'll say this is my physio. He hurts me.
Can I go in 5, 4, 3?
This week I've come down to Guildford Lido, but not for a swim, to do some strength and conditioning with my man, the Headhunter.
How you doing, Mark?
How you doing?
Always good to see you, buddy.
Nick, what are you going to do to me today?
Okay, strength conditioning, Fight Science Company, this is what we do. We strength and condition combat athletes. Today, we go for a preparation phase, we go for a strength phase, a power phase, and we get your body ready for the final phase, which is the most demanding phase. I'm kind of going to just throw you in the deep end and put you straight into the most intense training that we do.
Let's do this.
Follow us.
Cool. Well, that was a nice take.
Yeah.
Are you
Jamie,
watching go for tomorrow?
Yes.
If I was you, I'd get on that bike and get warmed up.
I'm not actually going to get warmed up.
Well, you're going to need to.
We're going to do, trust me, we did our thing twice. We don't have to make it look like I've been in the gym for hours.
Nick seems to feel incredibly comfortable in front of the cameras, and to me, it looks like presenting is a piece of cake for the Headhunter. Wartime TV's viewing figures seem to skyrocket every week, so I wanted to talk to Mark about his relationship with Nick and how that's helped him.
How long have I known Nick Chapman? I met Nick Chapman about a year ago. I met him at his first fight. I saw him standing there before the fight. Could see he was going to be devastated. Introduced myself. I was the first guy to ever interview him. A real honour. I became friends with him shortly after. And since then, I've literally just been hanging on his coattails ever since. On the awesome MMA Express.
Up again. Step backwards. I've got you. Now I need you to sit deep and then just press back up. Let's go. And up, up. Is that too heavy?
I think that was.
Okay. Should we try lying hello? Let's get a broomstick.
Before I saw Nick, before I saw him fight about 2 or 3 hours before, I was terrified. The guy just looked vicious, really intimidating, but then as I talked to him, I realised he's articulate and extremely intelligent. As he came in, the Gracie came, charging into the cage, you saw his opponent, Ben Schneider. You could see he'd lost the fight already. He was terrified. You know, the whole place, everyone was holding their breath. I was standing cage side with the legend Dave O'Donnell, and both of us just were like, this is going one way. 37 seconds, was it?
32.
32 seconds. There we go. Unbelievable.
It was a good fight.
A phenomenal fight.
Guy couldn't take punch. Sorry, Ben. Right from the hips. Bring the cap that up. Easy.
Now I think I can do this. This is Mark for cage fight. How's Nick's contribution helped with Wartime? Nick is a huge part of the Wartime team. I spend a lot of my time in the studio with myself, Karate Steve, Professor Fisticus. You know, I'm up seeing Dave O'Donnell, and we need people like Nick. There's only 2 guys like Nick. There's Nick and Pete Mercer, and you guys, you get the interviews that I can't get to, I might struggle to get to, and people open up naturally to you. And I have to say as well, as a presenter, you have come so far in such a short amount of time.
It's good training, Mark. It's good training.
It's brilliant. Nick
They teach me well.
Nick is taking the MMA world by storm. I mean, what are you ranked at the moment?
Number 3.
Number 3?
And that's only because I haven't fought the 2 above me yet.
Wow, exactly. So that's the Manawar man and
Linton Vassell.
Linton Vassell's going to get it.
You're both going to get it, if I'm honest. You know, it's named personal.
Jimmy's number 1, Linton Vassell. You're number 2.
See you soon, guys. Who knows? You're bored. You'll see.
Let's go on holiday to sunny Spain and watch the Headhunter fight. Nick, thank you ever so much. I'm going to let you get back to your awesome training regime.
Thank you, buddy. Cheers, guys.
Cool, very good.
Brilliant.
Nice take. Cool.
Well done.
Good. Very good. Cool.
Okay, let's go.
Then, as luck would have it, just as we're finished with the Wartime gang, Nick gets a phone call from MMA promoter and UCMMA referee Grant Waterman. Grant's in town and he's agreed to meet us for a quick chat. I'm interested to get Grant's opinion on the UK MMA scene, as he's now widely regarded within the UK as being a pioneer for the sport. And what makes this visit to Grant even better is that he's with another UK fighter, Nick's Fight Science teammate Rick Ellis.
Grant, what are you eating, man? Seriously?
It isn't what I ordered, that's the thing.
It's supposed to be.
Stop you eating it.
Chicken Alfredo.
Pure filth, man. This is pizza. This is not good.
Hey Pete, how you doing, mate? All right? Mate,
How you doing, man?
Mike, this is
Mike, yeah, I think
you don't have to be ripped to be a ref anyway, so.
Grant, how long have you known Nick and when did you meet him?
I've known the headhunter for about a year. I met him through an acquaintance called Rick Ellis, who fought on one of my shows. He brought Nick down and we had a chat, sat down, spoke to Rick, spoke to Nick. At the time we felt like he was running before he could walk, but we gave him an opportunity, matched him up very fairly. He sold me millions of tickets, which is always great for a promoter, and it just went from there really.
What were your first impressions when you saw him fight for the first time?
First impressions before the fight was that for someone who hasn't fought, he was a bit cocky perhaps, very confident, very determined. I wouldn't say he didn't. He professed to not know everything about the game, but he was just like a man on a mission. And it was like, you know, for me, someone I've been around. I've refereed about 5,000 fights at world class level, and I'm thinking, you know, does this guy know what he's getting himself into? Because he's obviously had a few rows. Pubs, clubs on the street, etc., etc., as a lot of people have. But this is a different ball game, you know. The cardio, especially, the fitness for fighting. There's a lot of people who can fight, and then they try and get into sport fighting, and because of the fitness levels, they're just rubbish. So I was a bit, you know, let's see what he's got. But on the day of the fight, this guy came out with absolutely zero nerves. Loving every minute of it, and put on a show for everyone and ironed out his opponent.
You're the owner of UK1MMA as a promotion, and UK1MMA is well known for being the only event in the UK that supports pride fighting rules.
Yeah.
What made you come to that decision to support that?
Well, I'm the only UK referee to have officiated in Europe using pride rules. There's a lot of shows in the Eastern Bloc that still use pride rules, and they use a boxing ring. They don't like the cage. They prefer it in a ring. What they've been brought up with is pride from Japan, and that's what they're still trying to copy now. There's a lot of countries that hate the USA. They don't like Dana White. They don't like the UFC. Although that is the Super Bowl of MMA, you know, and I love it. But there's a big issue with safety. Is pride rules dangerous because of soccer kicks and stomps and knees to the head on the ground, as opposed to Nevada State Athletic Commission rules, which don't allow that, but allow elbow strikes to the head of a downed opponent? Well, I've refereed hundreds of fights of both sets of rules, and I can honestly put my hand on my heart and say that pride rules are no more hazardous to a fighter than unified rules.
Rick Ellis will also be fighting on the same card as Nick come the 2nd of July, so I wanted to ask him whether he knew anything about the opponent that he was about to face.
Yeah, I've seen him fight on several shows. Several of the shows that I've been on, he's been on. I know that he's game. Basically, he's fought twice on the same night. So to him, you know, I don't know if it's a money thing or he's just really game or a little bit of both. But he fought on the last show, Grant's show, he fought a K1 fight and then went on to fight and MMA one later on in the evening. He's got about 3 times the length of record that I've got. I think he's got about 12 pro fights and that. He's a Lithuanian. They're renowned for being tough guys. This will be an interesting fight. Don't see it going out the first round, to be fair.
Coming up next time on Nick HeadHunter Chapman, Warrior to Champion. Nick gets to work on his strength and conditioning. We meet up with Solomon Raja of Raja Prize Fighters for Nick's weekly K1 session. And we meet up with MMA fighter Neil Harris as he prepares for battle at the up-and-coming MMA event, White Collar MMA.
Doubt I'll be that one you heard about, the one who get it in and get it on. I'm like an animal when in my house, no pulling out. I'm feeling high, so watch your mouth, my friend. You do not comprehend what it is you're talking about. I need a drink, a freak a beat, one time to say I turned it out. If I did, then I did. What you worry about? I see you standing there looking tough. What's that about? We both know you gon' turn around and walk it off, so cut it out.